Let's talk about the best meal to actually clean out your arteries. And I'm talking about atherosclerotic plaquing. This is some new information that I think will actually blow you away, and you can apply this to a lot of different body problems. Since heart attacks are the number one killer, I think you're going to be glad that you watched this. I was studying some research involving germ-free mice because they do a lot of experiments on animals that are germ-free. Like, what is this germ-free thing, right? Well, there's a way to grow an animal without any microbes living on or inside them, and so they're really kind of a sterile animal. That way they can do various experiments and keep the microbiome out of the picture. Remember, this video is for education purposes only and does not aim to replace your doctors. Well, yes, they can survive, but I think they don't survive very well. First of all, they require a lot more nutrient-dense foods to survive. Because they don't have the help from the microbes, they have stunted growth, underdeveloped hearts, lungs, and their liver is smaller. They even have low cardiac output, so their heart doesn't work as well. The lining on their intestine is thinner, and they also have a lot of GI problems. Their immune system doesn't develop fully, and they have a lot of inflammatory conditions. There's even atrophy of their lymph nodes. Let's explore how the fascinating world of germ-free mice research connects with the health of our arteries. This link is quite remarkable, as it provides valuable insights into the impact of a compromised microbiome, or dysbiosis, on our cardiovascular health. When I delved into the connection between germ-free mice and artery health, I uncovered some truly astonishing data. It appears that disrupting the microbial balance in the gut, as seen in germ-free mice, leads to widespread inflammation throughout the body, including the arteries. This inflammation serves as the catalyst for a chain reaction of events that ultimately results in the formation of artery-clogging plaques. It's important to debunk the myth that our blood is entirely sterile. In reality, our blood is not devoid of microorganisms. There are indeed microorganisms residing within it. Even more surprisingly, some of these microorganisms are pathogens including Schlamidia, H. pylori, and Staphylococcus. These pathogenic microbes make their home within the arterial plaques. However, it's not just pathogens. Various other microorganisms also inhabit our arteries. Considering the abundance of microbes in our guts and on our skin, it's reasonable to expect their presence throughout our organs, including the arteries. Now, the other piece of this puzzle that I want to bring up now is there's this one very specific important nutrient. Okay, it's a vitamin that has this responsibility of keeping the calcium buildup out of the arteries, because when you have plaquing, you have inflammation, you have calcium, and you have cholesterol plaques, right? Well, this vitamin, which you may already know, is called vitamin K2, and its job is to keep the calcium out of the arteries. Okay, it directs the calcium back into the bone, and if you're deficient in vitamin K2, you could actually build up this calcium in the arteries. I'd like to highlight the significance of vitamin K2 in relation to our health. You might be surprised to know that our own gut bacteria play a crucial role in producing vitamin K2. They have the remarkable ability to transform vitamin K1 found in leafy greens into vitamin K2. This essential nutrient can also be found in fermented foods, thanks to the microbes and bacteria in these products. Fatty fermented foods, like cheese, particularly the creamier varieties, are rich sources of vitamin K2. Other options include salmon, salami, a fermented product, select sausages, especially those high in fat, certain types of hot dogs, and even bacon contain vitamin K2. It's intriguing to note that mainstream medical advice often suggests avoiding saturated fats and foods rich in cholesterol. even though some of these items contain vitamin K2, which can counteract calcium buildup in the arteries. For those interested in assessing their risk of heart disease, the coronary artery calcification (CAC) test is a valuable option. This test measures the amount of calcium present in your arteries and serves as a reliable predictor of heart issues. It's a cost-effective test that can offer valuable insights into your cardiovascular health status. If you consider supplementing with vitamin K2, it's important to know that it works best when taken alongside vitamin D3. The recommended ratio is roughly 100 micrograms of K2 for every 10,000 international units IU of vitamin D3. This combination can be a proactive step in supporting your heart health. Let's talk about probiotics. They're like your natural defenders against clogged arteries, calcium buildup, and artery inflammation. These friendly microbes live in your gut and do some amazing things. When you eat veggies, they munch on the fiber and produce something called short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids are like special fats that help keep your insulin in check and manage your blood sugar. Plus, they can also reduce inflammation in your arteries. Now, think about your diet in a new way. Do you mostly eat foods that are super clean and germ-free? Things like pasteurized milk, juice, canned foods, and even radiation-treated foods to make them last longer on the shelf. It's surprising how many sterilized foods are out there on the grocery store shelves. We also tend to cook our food really well, which, unfortunately, kills off many of those helpful microbes. We've moved away from eating lots of raw foods. And there's another thing, sometimes the animals we eat have antibiotics in them. Here's the catch with antibiotics. They don't just kill bad microbes. They wipe out the good ones too. The few survivors become tough and resistant, causing more problems like inflammation. So when you eat raw foods like fresh vegetables or healthy garden produce, you're getting a bunch of good microbes from them. It's almost like getting the natural probiotic boost from your veggies. If someone truly grasps this idea, they might consider adding more fermented foods to their diet. Fermented foods come in many varieties, and they can be like a helpful boost for your body. Fermented vegetables, in particular, are rich in these friendly microbes. They not only introduce more good microbes to your existing collection, but also offer pre-digested food. That's easier on your tummy, especially if your digestion isn't working at its best. These foods can be a great choice. Now let's turn our attention to a surprising and artery-friendly meal. This meal might seem quite different from what you'd expect based on mainstream medical advice for artery health. We're going to put together a meal that includes some of the fattiest cheese, like brie cheese, along with fatty pork sausage, and, of course, sauerkraut, which is likely more acceptable by mainstream standards, even though the other two ingredients might not be. Think about the amazing combination here. Firstly, each of these items is packed with vitamin K2. Secondly, they have another common feature. They're all fermented. Fermentation means that beneficial bacteria have worked their magic on these foods, making their nutrients more accessible. The best part is that these foods are easier to digest because of the fermentation process. Plus, they're not sterile. They still have living microbes that can benefit your body. The next time you're shopping at the store, take a moment to consider how many of the items on your list are sterilized, pasteurized, or overly processed. Then make a conscious shift towards choosing foods that are more alive, and enhanced through the fermentation process.